Jim Gazzola, he's sure spring football's over.
It's unbelievable how fast
Party
it goes,
season's over for you.
I will tell you this. Ryan Navarre's 50th birthday party, I'm not on Facebook, but it was unbelievable. It is all over Facebook, but it was seriously an unbelievable time. Unbelievable.
My 50th birthday, we had cookie cake. We didn't have quite the same party.
You didn't have Brett Michaels and Tone Loc and it was
don't even know who they are.
It was unbelievable.
Don't really even know who they are. How's that? Unfortunately, I'm not in that crowd. You run with a different crowd, Coach. You run with a different crowd. All right, you came back from the Final Four early for the party.
I did.
What was the atmosphere at the Final Four like with all the new coming small schools there? Completely different?
It was different, for sure. I think that everyone is all the people that I talk to, I just think the game is in the tournament is in a really healthy place. I think that, having 3 teams that's never been to the Final Four, I just think that's really healthy. You see the fans at Florida Atlantic and San Diego State and even in Miami. I mean, it's just there's an energy about it that was just different. You didn't. I've been to Final Fours where the blue bloods were all there.
Yeah.
And, it was different, but the Final Four is really, and I know I'm biased, but it's a really really neat event.
Yeah, I've been to a couple, but the thing is about this group is it brings hope to everybody else.
100%. I mean, like all the coaches and all the athletic directors and mid-major programs, we're all talking about that. Like, well, gosh, because of NIL and because of the portal, teams can really do this. And I think, there's a lot of talk now about, like schools at our level. We have to fundraise so much to keep the lights on and to advance the programs. But in reality, NIL can change the trajectory of a program or department quicker than anything else. Probably, more important probably than the locker rooms and all that stuff. The NIL has literally changed the game. And, we're going to meet this week on, I've been having a lot of conversations, Jim, with Miss Bridget and other people about, setting up our collective, and we need to expedite that. We're meeting this week on fine tuning those things.
No, that is a game changer because that gets you attention, it gets you talent.
100%.
It also puts you in a ball game that everybody else is in.
Exactly.
Everybody else is playing there.
That's right.
You got to get there.
100%.
But the Florida Atlantic, play in front of a small 2,900 seat arena.
Yep.
Yours is bigger. Came out of nowhere.
Conference USA
school. In fact, Conference USA schools won everything. Basically,
isn't that the truth?
They won all
the NIT. Yeah,
they won the CBI, the NIT, and this.
That's right.
In fact, they had 2 teams in the championship game of the NIT.
That's right.
That's where you want to go. You've talked about it. Suddenly, you can see the picture coming into focus, can't you?
100%.
On what can be.
Absolutely, and and we've sat here and we've talked about this very openly about McNeese reaching its potential.
Yeah.
And I think, and I've said it before, I think these next 3 to 5 years is our window. And, I've said it openly that our goal is to become an FBS football member. And but I also think that, with where we're at right now as a department, we have a real opportunity to make a run. In football, we're going to have Coach Goff on here momentarily. And the difference that this program is now. I mean, compared to a year ago, and then we are
2 years ago,
light years better. And where the men's basketball program is going. And look, those are the two that you have to really, really get to go.
They're the money drivers.
Exactly right.
Now, the portal, obviously a lot of names that we got familiar with over the last couple of years have entered the portal from McNeese and are leaving. That was expected.
For sure.
We haven't gotten a lot of announcements of what's coming in, although we have some commitments. They can't sign until April 12th. I believe.
Yep.
But you're confident with what's coming in.
Oh, for sure.
Is going to make a dent next year.
Oh, 100%. Look, when I hired Coach Wade, I told him all, from the start. I said, listen, this is not a 2 or 3, 4 year rebuild here. I'm not hiring you to do that. I mean, I want to win. Yeah. And he wants the same thing. But I just think that the commitments that we have, The you know the
Well, the investments you guys have made make
100%. We are truly invested, and I just think, especially being at the Final Four, there are more people talking about McNeese athletics and McNeese basketball than ever before. And
well, I would imagine so, especially at the Final Four.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that so we are becoming relevant, and I'm really, really excited about what Coach is going to do.
And the seats on the floor, have you sold them all?
It should be sold today. They should be sold. We're filming on Monday, so when this airs, they should be sold because I had one call and the guy wanted 4, so they should be done.
And now, with that in mind, any chance you're going to move up in years? More seats?
In Platinum Club?
Well, on the floor.
I don't think so. I think we're going to keep it at 30 for the first year. I will keep it at 30 for the first year.
And then?
You never know.
You never know. Gary Goff is our guest after this on Polk Nation.
Welcome back to Polk Nation. Coach Goff, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
All right, spring. Spring's over. Had the spring game on Saturday. Talk about where you started in the spring and then where you're at now.
Yeah, it was a really good spring. I tell you what, the second year in the offense and the defense and the special teams is so much different than the first year. So we were able to move at a lot faster pace than we were a year ago. But, I think in the offseason, one thing we focused on is continuing to develop leadership. And I know, people are out there probably saying, oh, these coaches are always talking about leadership. But it's very important when you got a roster of over 100 people. Yep. And I think some guys really took that step forward in that leadership direction as to where a year ago, we had our seniors, and some of those guys did it, some didn't. With these guys, I feel like our leadership group's doing a phenomenal job of holding each other accountable, and so that kind of set the stage for us having a pretty solid spring. I think when we entered spring, it was almost like we had been in camp for at least a couple of weeks. As where a year ago when we entered spring, we're teaching everything, and it was so slow. And we had depth. We got some really good depth right now. Bringing those 16 guys in January made a big difference. But I think we ended on a high note. I mean, I think on both sides of the ball, they had a lot of big explosive plays. There's very minimum mistakes. We had no loafs, so it was a pretty clean scrimmage overall, and we're healthy. And that's obviously your worry going into that spring game, getting on the other side of it healthy.
So, when you saw the spring game, and obviously you went back and you watched the film, and what are some of the positives that stood out?
Well, I think we got 2 quarterbacks that can sling the rock. We do. They're both gunslingers. Both of them are great leaders. They're really good young men. So very excited about that competition. And we know this. I mean, competition makes us all better, right? I mean, it just does. So, it's going to be a long, hard-fought battle right there, which is good for us. I think these 2 guys are 2 guys we recruited for a reason. They both had stats at their previous institutions. They're not 2 guys that are looking for their first chance. Yeah. So they both played. So I'm excited about that competition as it goes through the summer and even into camp. And they've got a very healthy relationship. I mean, they're pulling for each other. They're really good teammates as well. I think another highlight is getting D'Angelo Durham back. Our running back room is very, very healthy right now and very deep. He had that one carry he took for 75 yards in the spring game. Is good to see. And we kind of put a limit on him all spring. We had him. He didn't get any reps the first scrimmage. Took a little bit the second one, and then the spring game we let him go for about 20, 25 plays. Moving over to defense, really happy about our secondary. We got some very good depth there in the secondary. 2 new corners, 3 new safeties. Some corners that played at the end of the season last year that were true freshmen, have really developed and become really good players. So we got some pretty good battles right there in the secondary, which we didn't have a year ago. Heck, Coach Johnson, myself, and Coach Peck were thinking about having a lineup and play DB at one point. I think the one thing that we did is we addressed a couple very big concerns, and that was obviously the quarterback room, and that was a secondary room going into this past off season.
The thing I noticed is that last year it was kind of win the quarterback spot by default. I know you don't like to say that, but
it's a good way to put it, I guess.
But this year you are going from a strength. Yeah. But what do you like about each one? Because they are very different.
Yeah.
And you don't like to run a 2 quarterback system. So what do you like about one? Seems like he can run a lot better. One seems like he can throw better.
Yeah, Jim. Let's say that we all have to evolve, right? We got to continue trying to get better, right? Here's kind of how we can break it down pretty easy for everybody to kind of see. Is Nate he's not this kind of player yet, but he's kind of got a Baker Mayfield swagger to him. You know, he takes the field, he believes he's going to make that throw, and that guy can't tackle him, and he's going to throw a touchdown here. I mean, he just has that presence to him, you know. He's very, very confident in himself, and, you know, sometimes by default, you know, hey, why'd you throw that? Well, because, Coach, I can get it there. But you want that. You'd rather have that gunslinger mentality than somebody who's kind of timid and I don't know if I could really do that. And then Trey is very quiet off the field, but when he steps on the field, he's electric, you know. And you know, Trey gets a crease and he can take it 80 yards. He's your definition of a dual threat quarterback, and he's got a big arm too. So, and he's got swagger to him. It's not like he's second to Nate in that confidence area, not at all. He's just as confident and has that swagger to him. So, you know, that's what I refer to about, you know, we got two guys that graded out very high, both athletically when we recruited them, and then as the quarterback characteristic traits. And I think they're going to continue making each other better, and it's going to be a very difficult decision for us. And we're going to do what's best for the program. If it's playing both, then we'll play both. If one separates himself and is the clear-cut, you know, leader, then we're going to go that route. But I'm not going to press the issue. They're both doing great right now. I'm excited to work with them all summer and through camp.
The thing I noticed about the offense this year, there's more pieces in place already.
Yeah.
A lot more stuff to the backs, a lot more check downs, a lot more options coming from the quarterback. How much more advanced is this offense now?
Well, I think a lot more. And every year they're in the system, you're able to do more and more and more, right? You know, our last year at Valdosta State, we'd been there with them for 3 years, and we can take this concept and put it with this concept. Kids don't even bat an eye, they're going. As we're, again, last year, we're in fundamentals. You know, we're at ground zero. Like, hey, here's what we do in this protection if you see this front. And now the guys are not thinking about their assignments. They're actually, you know, responding and reacting to them really fast. So there's a big difference going into year two with the offense and defense.
We come back with Coach Goff. We're going to talk about some more of the spring game and the future of this program right after this on Coach Nation. We're back with McNeese State head football coach Gary Goff. We're talking spring game. Not to get to the negative, but I always go to the negative with that.
Shocking.
Yeah, it's your job, right?
Shocking.
It's your job.
Jalen Johnson has stepped up
Yes.
and
yes.
looked good as a receiver, but you want
Yes.
more. You got 6 coming in, I think you said.
Yes.
How excited are you to see them, and what do you want to see out of the rest of the receivers?
Well, no, you're right. I mean, Jalen Johnson was very consistent for us this spring. You know, he makes the tough catches. He's going to get you positive yards. He doesn't make very many mistakes. So he's kind of Mr. Reliable, and the quarterbacks found him a lot in some, you know, crucial moments in the spring. You know, these young men that we signed, we did sign 6 receivers. They're freshmen. They'll be here in the summer. And they all bring something different. We got 6'5", 6'4", 6'4". We got a 5'10" who's a track star in Texas. We got a 5'11" who can take the top off of defense. So we're excited to get them here, but you know, we still got to probably look for 2 transfers in that room. We just do. We need some playmakers. I'm very excited about these freshmen coming in and contributing, and we told them, look, you're going to have a chance to play early here, and obviously that you know, enticed them to join us. But I need a little bit of experience as well, you know, and we really need 2 outside guys that are a handful to deal with, because, you know, right now we don't have that answer. And you saw our defense this spring pretty much press the wideouts every time, you know, get their hands on us. So we got to be better in that area right there. Good news for us is we're not lining up playing a game anytime soon, and we still got time to go recruit.
Well, tell me this, Coach. So, what, you know, you alluded to this early in the first segment about how much farther along the program is in year 2 than year 1. Talk about the locker room. Talk about the culture of the program. Like, when I was at the spring game and then saw you speak to the guys, and then you did something I thought was really neat, is when you brought individual players up and you said, tell somebody what they need to do better, and then tell someone what they did great.
Yeah.
I mean, just the culture, but talk about where this program is today compared to where it was a year ago.
Yeah, you know, and nobody take this negative by nobody's default, but like, the seniors last year had been through a lot. You know, that's water under the bridge. We don't want to really dwell on any of that, but they had a lot of different coaches come in and out of their lives while they were here and playing. So sometimes when we're telling them guys, hey, here's what we're gonna do, and kind of get them fired up, it was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. You know, so now we're pretty young. You know, we're going to have about 4 seniors on our roster next year. Now that's pretty scary. However, a young football team can be very dangerous. You know, they have a taste of success, and they don't know any better, and it just starts snowballing. So, you know, but D'Angelo Durham, here's a young man who, we know the story, rushed for 160 yards on one leg,
Yep.
almost had emergency surgery to remove the leg. I mean, it's pretty bad. And he's had an unbelievable offseason. He's back healthy, but he's been a man on a mission. I mean, he is our team leader. And to the point to where we would have guys here all offseason, before spring ball started, lifting and running at 6 a.m. Well, the players set a player meeting at 5:45 a.m. every day without us knowing, because they want to make sure the team was here prior to 6. And he had a few players show up late to the player meeting at 5:45 and send them home. And then he'd come tell me, Coach, I hope you're not mad. We had a couple guys show up late.
That's awesome.
And we sent them home. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's 5:58. He goes, no, they were late to the player meeting. So I smiled and was like, dude, that is phenomenal. Keep doing this. So the team is really, bought into we need everybody and everybody to be held accountable and be disciplined in order for us to win a championship. So the health, the mental health of the team right now is the best it's been since we've gotten here. They understand that we've all got roles, whether you're a starter or you're the fifth string, and that's okay. But we all got to hold each other accountable. Then we can, worry about what the next step is as far as winning. So that's been a blast all off season. And going to your point at the end of practice, I just thought it was a great idea to get two players up there after every practice and use our standards, our tough attitude and discipline. Stay within those guidelines, but tell somebody what they need to do better as far as one of our standards, and then tell a teammate what he did great as far as one of our standards. And it wasn't a beat-down session. No. It's just
it was awesome.
When a teammate tells you, you know what, hey, you didn't do a good job listening today, and you got to pay attention to detail because that could hurt us. That kind of puts you in the spotlight in front of the team, like, whoa, I got to be better. So it was a pretty good learning tool that we used this spring, and it's been pretty effective.
One thing I noticed is you have kids buying in, like Trey Winters changing sides.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Trey.
But tell me about that, because that's not easy to do. He came here as an offensive lineman. Now he's on the defensive line, but he's bought into it.
He is. I tell you what, Trey is awesome. He's about to graduate this semester. He was buried a little bit on the depth chart on the offensive line. And, Tony came to me, Coach Peck came to me. It's like, hey, I'm worried about up front. We need somebody who's pretty big and strong to be a two-gap. And I was like, what about Trey? Because Trey's a giant,
right?
And so I approached Trey, and Trey's like, you know what, Coach, it's funny you say that. Just a few weeks ago, I made the comment, I should play D-line. And he was there for 2 weeks. And you saw in the spring game, he had a TFL. He had a pass breakup. So his job, just get in the backfield and wreak havoc. And very proud of that young man for putting the team first and agreeing to make that change over there. And he's had a great attitude about it, and I'm excited for him to continue getting better there.
That also, you seem to have, like you mentioned, the defensive backs, but most of them are new.
Yeah.
Obviously, junior college, a lot of people talk about the transfer portal. Junior college is the way you guys went. Was that because you wanted a quick flip?
Well, you can say you can go in the portal and try to get a quick flip, but the Mississippi JUCOs has got some great programs over there. It's right here in our backyard. We went over there. We did a great job recruiting. Not only the student athlete, but their families. Their families took the visit. We've got a good relationship with them. And those guys have played a lot of football. Again, sometimes you go into the portal and you might be getting somebody who just hadn't played a lot, but they want their opportunity.
That's right.
We don't have time to just have a room full of people that we're going to try to just, hope that we're going to give them their first shot. We need some guys who are players. We need some guys who are used to winning, some guys that have been in some playoff games, and you're getting that from these Mississippi JUCO teams that we recruited out of.
When we come back with Coach's final thoughts on Poke Nation after this. Well, you were at the spring game.
Yep.
You were on the field pretending like you were, I don't know, a coach or something.
Okay.
Everybody else is down there. Why not you? But what was your impression? Because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. But to me, the biggest difference is there's just a lot more of them. There's a lot of players out there.
My opinion is that we have an unbelievable football coach. You could see that again today. I love our staff. We are light years better. And we have come so far from 2 years ago, a year ago. There's not a part of the program that is not healthier now than it was before Gary Goff stepped foot here. I think we're going to be much improved. He alluded to this. We only have 4 seniors.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting for the next couple years after this too.
Yeah.
But he's done it right. The guys are doing a great job in the weight room. Our strength staff, everything is going in one direction, and it starts with the top. But I think we're so much better. We're just bigger and stronger, and we're more talented.
Yeah.
And I think we're more disciplined. I just think that when you're on the field, you see the coaches hold these kids accountable, and it's awesome.
No, it's a completely different show now. That's good. That's true. What's your first impression though of now that you've got Gary Goff, the guy you wanted, Will Wade, the guy you wanted,
Yep.
the investment you've made in them? What's your first impression on the return you're getting?
Oh, I think that
I mean, you're getting national attention like never before.
for sure we're getting national attention. I think that you look at the ticket sales that we've already had for basketball. I mean, it's we had $130,000 in 48 hours. We're clipping over $200,000 in new ticket sales right now since Coach Wade has gotten here. I think obviously with Coach Goff, we are so much better. Our ticket sales in football is going up.
Yeah.
Look, we've said it all along, and you and I have said this off camera a lot, is that you have to invest in people, and you have to invest if you want your return. And athletics is no different than any business. You can't cut your way to success. Obviously, when you invest more, you expect more. And but right now, the return on the investment for both of those programs, for sure. I'm really, really excited about it.
The ESPN deal for baseball and softball. Do you guys have to look at that moving forward? Because it seems like it's kind of, I don't want to say it's unfair, but it seems kind of like it's haphazard a little bit.
It is, and it's a contract that the league has that is that mandates, if you will, that we can't just put it on our own website.
Yeah.
It has to go on ESPN Plus. That is the contract that the league put together with ESPN. This is before Chris got there. We weren't budgeted for all that yet.
Yeah.
And but for sure, we actually had a meeting this morning about moving those programs to have a better production, if you will, on softball and baseball, and then also going into the fall, being able to put volleyball and soccer on ESPN Plus too. I mean,
well, it's a great recruiting tool for kids from outside the area that their parents can sit home and watch it.
For sure. And also, we joke about this, but it's the same thing I said when we were going to hire Coach Wade, and we hired Gary Goff, and we invested in football. And I had this conversation with people in this community and campus. We can't say we want to be something and not be about it.
Yeah.
If you want to be a Division I, then let's act Division I and let's do Division I things. And the ESPN Plus package is one of those things.
Yeah, well, I just say that because there's a lot of people. I see like Houston Christian has it on, has their games on.
Yeah.
You don't have all your games on. I know a lot of it was set up before
It was.
It all is currently.
For sure.
It just seems like you should be able to stream your own games if ESPN Plus doesn't want to.
Well, that's the argument that I had with the league. But see, the contract that the former commissioner signed with ESPN Plus, once you got to this year, you weren't able to do that.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to have a certain percentage on ESPN Plus and a certain percentage on our own website.
Yeah.
Well, the contract, you're not allowed to do that. So we've actually got our hands slapped a few times in volleyball this past fall of trying to put it on. So, excuse me. So it's one of those things, again, that we're going to do moving forward because we have to.
It's going to evolve into
Absolutely.
what you need to do. Because you have to, I've maintained the biggest thing about McNeese is they have to control their own voice.
100%.
And you're not quite there yet.
Correct.
Although
Correct.
This show gets your voice out there. All right, so spring game's done. Baseball's coming back this week. Softball's off to 9-0 start.
Yeah, they're rolling.
They are rolling. Unbelievable.
It's great. I mean, I'm really excited about the spring. I think that Coach Goff, I'm telling you, get your football tickets because this thing is flipped. I'm telling you.
We'll see you next week on Poke Nation.